Are we live now?
Looks that way.
Okay. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you all to our monthly meeting of the Peabody Conservation Commission. Today's Wednesday, July 26, 2023. Present here tonight are Bruce Comack, Commissioner, myself, Michael Rizzo, Vice Chairman, Arthur Athis, Commissioner, Amanda Green, Commissioner, Lucia Del Negro, and Stu Lazarus and Rita Ricavicchio are unable to attend tonight. So we do have a quorum. Mike Vivaldi should be here. He's not here yet, but we can get started.
He
Okay,
just logged on.
Okay, so Mike Vivaldi is here. Okay, I'll read the notice. Remote participation allowed in accordance with Section 20 of Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2021, signed into law by Governor Baker on February 12, 2022, suspended provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, Chapter 30A, Section 18, extended by Section 20 of Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, and further extended by final compromise bill enacted by the House and Senate on March 23, 2023, and signed by Governor Maura Healey on March 29, 2023. In the event that we are unable to do so on matters not requiring a public hearing, we will post on the City of Peabody's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive recording as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay. Our first item on the agenda tonight is a continued public hearing and notice of intent submitted by Norse Environmental Services, Maureen Herald, for Crystal Bass property owner. Proposed work is the construction of a single-family dwelling, associate grading utilities, remove a portion of existing driveway, post clear cut and clear vegetation within the buffer zone of the immediate stream. The property is known as 36A Greenwood Road, map 108, lot 3A, in the city of Peabody. And Maura, I see Maura Herald. Okay.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Maureen Herald, Norse Environmental Services. I was in front of the commission, I think it was a month or 2 months ago. And if I can I bring in the latest plan? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. So the last time I was in front of the commission, I know a few members did a site walk. It's for the construction of a single family dwelling. However, there was some concerns about the plan itself. It was a little bit difficult to read. So the commission had asked me to resubmit a plan that's a bit more clearer. So I think we have done that for the commission. This plan is much more clearer than what was originally submitted. We show the erosion controls around the dwelling itself. One of the most difficult things to see was the existing drive that's there right now, and this is it here, shown as a dashed line. And I don't believe there was any other concerns, but I can open it up to the commission with any questions.
Okay. I think there was just some concerns about maybe cleaning up some of the leaves and so forth up in the back of the property. You recall?
Sure, that's not a problem. If the commission finds it appropriate to put it as a condition,
Yeah.
that works for our client.
And then just as a reminder, not to dump the leaves up there anymore. We saw the site and it looked like a good project. We didn't see any real difficulties with it. And if any of the members of the commission have any questions, you're free to speak. Any other commissions have any comments?
I'll ask a question. What is it a complete, is it a complete like vacant lot, that your treed lot that you're building a home?
So that's correct. So my client's grandmother lives in this house here, and this is the garage. And they ended up subdividing a lot for her granddaughter. So right now, we just have the existing driveway that goes through the lot itself, but the remaining lot is vacant.
And trees. So it looks pretty steep.
It's not too bad. We have a BVW in the back of the lot and an intermittent stream that flows behind the dwelling that's labeled as number 37. The tree line is shown here. But there is an area that is open, grassy, vegetated, but more of a grassy than forested.
Do you have a photo of it?
I don't, unfortunately.
There should
But
be
it-
some on the OneDrive.
Yeah. Yeah, because the grade does go up. Where the home is going, it starts at the street and the grade goes up, 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 up. And then it kind of just levels out and there's like the wetland that's behind there. It's almost like it's like elevated. It's really pretty up there. So this part of the project where the building is, my understanding is, it looks like everything flows back to the street and really nothing goes back towards the wetland. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
Any other questions?
And so is it, they have a sufficient erosion controls and to prevent wetland erosion, sediment erosion into the wetlands?
Yes, so this darker line here is the erosion control that we're showing.
Okay, so it's on all, basically all four sides. So is it sloping down to the wetlands or is it like on a hill, like sloping both sides? I see some contours that are,
Yes, so this is contour 86. And in the back here is contour 108. And it goes approximately 260 feet for a distance. And as the vice chairman had stated, it levels out back here and then it drops into a BVW. This BVW eventually flows towards the north and it outlets into an intermittent stream that flows behind the dwelling at number 37. This dwelling has a little bit of a backyard and beautiful garden area, and then the stream flows behind this area here.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Should we open it to members of the public?
Yeah. So seeing none, I'd like to open it to the public. Is anybody at the meeting this evening outside the commission who wants to speak on this matter? I guess there's nobody here to speak in favor or against this project. If that's the case, then what's the wish of the commission? We have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Have a second.
second,
Okay. Roll call.
Yep, that motion was made to close by Mr. Comack, seconded by Mr. Vivaldi. Roll call, Chairman, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Okay, so it is closed unanimously 5-0.
Do I have a motion for to issue an order of conditions?
So moved.
Second. Any second?
Second with all the standard conditions for a residential single-family house in Peabody.
Okay, so we could have conditions 1 through 50. And condition 51 is a reminder that the applicant, the erosion controls must be in place and observed by our conservation agent to make sure they're in properly. Compost logs or straw bales without plastic meshing shall be used. Hay bales are not allowed. Any other?
Through the chair.
conditions?
And I'm not sure, at this point, I'm not even sure if it's a standard condition. Are we requiring granite bounds?
What's that, Bruce?
Are we requiring granite bounds that say, edge of 100-foot buffer?
Not in this project.
That's fine.
Okay,
Through the chair, I would put all of DPS comments, their conditions, as well as if you guys want to see all of the landscaping debris that is littering all along the intermittent stream and all in the buffer zone, all along the edge of the wetland. If you guys are going to condition that, you should put a timeline on it. Don't just give them, forever, because they'll never do it.
Yeah,
Or we
like
can issue a violation order.
well, why don't we put a condition on there? Once the erosion controls are in place, that at that time, before any construction can begin, that the cleanup of the debris shall be picked up and disposed of.
Within a time frame, though, because if you don't give them a time frame, they have 3 years.
No, I'm saying that before they can excavate, before they can start the project, once the BMPs are in place, before they can start to build anything, though, that has to be cleaned up.
That's a good condition.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Maureen?
We can make that happen. Yes.
Okay.
Now, I
All
know
right.
that motion was made and seconded, but I actually didn't write it down.
Okay, so the motion, I'll try to reword it again. That once the erosion control measures are in place and Lucia is able to look at those and make sure they're appropriate, before construction can begin, a shovel going to the ground, the cleanup up in the back has to take place, and then material needs to be removed from the site.
And the idea that they have to call the staff for inspection of the erosion controls.
Yes. Okay, we need a roll call on the items.
Yeah, but I never wrote down who made the motion. It was Bruce, and then I can't remember who seconded it.
I seconded it.
All right. So Bruce, you did make that motion, correct? Or am I?
Correct.
All right. Roll call. Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right. So that order of condition passes unanimously 5-0.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, item number 2 on the agenda is a notice of intent for 29 Glendale Ave, and we understand we've received a request to continue this, so we're just going to move on and go to the next item. So item number 2 from 29 Glendale Ave will be heard at our next meeting. Item number 3 is actually the same thing. We have, it's a continued public hearing and notice of intent for 168.
Should we just make a motion to make it formal, Mike?
Yeah, item number 2 is continued now. We continued item number 2. And now
I
we're gonna-
think you do have to make a formal motion, though, unfortunately.
Okay, well, all right, but sorry, then. On
You
item
could
number
continue
2,
both 2 and 3 together to save time, because I'm all
Yep.
about saving time tonight.
can I get a motion on, to continue items 2 and 3 to our next meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue items 29 Glendale Ave and 168 Main Street to our next meeting in September.
Thank you.
Second.
Just so you
Second.
know, those continuances are at the request of the petitioners.
Second.
All right, roll call. I actually have the motion made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Mr. Comack. And for the people in the audience, again, just a reminder, if you're here for 168 Main Street or 29 Glendale Ave, those will both be heard at the September 13th hearing. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes,
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes,
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
yes,
All right, so that both of those items are continued 5-0.
very good. Okay, our item, next item on the agenda is item number 4. It's a hearing on a notice of intent submitted by native TEC, Bob Marini, for Carolyn Crisotomo. I can't see. Property.
Eskerlin,
The proposed work is the construction of a 3-car garage, earthwork, and extension of bituminous concrete driveway within the buffer zone. The property is known as 163 Lowell Street, map 74, lot 14, in the city of Peabody. Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you're on.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, so unfortunately, Rob from Native Tech cannot make it today, so I am here to represent myself. So we just want to touch up on the points from last time that unfortunately due to technical difficulties, we're not able to. So DP has assigned a file number and averted have been notified. The BVW and Riverbank Protector Brook was flagged by Native Tech. The limit of work for the garage lies in the 100 feet buffer. None of the house alteration lies within the COMCOM jurisdiction, I'm sorry. Until about 2 years ago or less, there was some stockpile in the riverfront and buffer that since then that has been removed. And the site work will be surrounded by sedimation control barriers, and disturbed work area will be hydro-seeded and maintained until establishment after construction.
Okay. You could increase the size of that, like zoom in just a little bit. It's hard to see okay, so the blue line is the riverfront. That's
The green line.
green line is the 100-foot buffer zone, and the blue line
The blue,
says,
yes,
the-
riverfront. I'm sorry, I didn't see it until he zoomed
Okay.
in.
What's the existing land at the moment, existing surface, existing conditions?
Just grass area.
through the chair, so basically the only thing that's in riverfront is her erosion controls, that squiggly line right there that
Mhm.
goes into that 200 foot. And then basically at that blue line at the blue riverfront, the property sort of like drops down, and half of it is like grassy area that's sort of overgrown, but grassy as well. And then to the left is where like it in Eskerlin, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't been there for a while. But like, can you see my cursor? Like right here,
Yes.
it sort of like drops down, and that's like the real area of wetlands where it goes back. So over on this side, it just kind of goes back, but it's like a grassy, you could see that like someone at one point maintained a yard there. And I think Rob told you to maybe not maintain it, but I mean, I think it was fine the last time I was out there. But I mean, this is a pretty easy cut and dry. This is buffer zone only right here. half of a garage is in buffer zone. She's at like the very end of the buffer zone. Everything out here is not in our jurisdiction. They did say they're doing a lot of work, over here, like a new sidewalk and proposed deck, but none of that is in our jurisdiction. It's just this bit and this little bit right here.
So is it fairly flat?
Where
is-
the,
Where
sorry,
where the garage is going, looks like a garage.
yes. So
the
what
garage-
the proposed area is flat.
Okay, and the site looks a little tight as far as getting in there with equipment, so there's not gonna, it's just a garage with a slab on grade?
Yes, that's what we're planning for.
Okay, so you don't, it's not gonna be stockpiling of a lot of material.
No, it should not.
Okay. And
So
you,
there's, they have to build the driveway and the garage, right? It's not just the garage.
So so we only have to extend the driveway up to, if you drive into the driveway to the right, where there's gonna be just a little bit left of that grass area. Once it's built, if we're allowed to.
Can you zoom out, expand out, decrease out so that we can see the area that you need to pave?
It says right here, new impervious pavement and building right over here.
Oh, okay, so is that just basically is it everything that's from, that line is not very detailed, specific enough for me?
okay, so that line you're referencing, that's the limit of the existing driveway. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
So
and-
again, everyone, this is all that she's doing in the buffer. This is all the only concrete asphalt that's going in the buffer zone. This tiny little piece right here, this is not in our jurisdiction.
What about the other part of the garage?
Just this,
Right,
half of the garage
Half of
and
the garage
this
and-
little bit.
a portion of the driveway, right? And it's probably 80 or 90 feet from the wetlands, at least, right?
Well, it's 100, the green line is 100 feet from the buffer zone, so.
Right, so I'm guessing 80 or 90 feet from the wetlands. Do you have any measurement or no?
Well, there's wetland and there's riverfront, so I can't tell from the plan I can't tell from the plan where the buffer zone is.
This is Proctor Brook BVW.
Okay,
So it's, yeah, I mean,
yeah, okay. Okay.
that's why the erosion controls are there.
Yeah.
I know there's neighbors in the audience who want to speak, but from a wetland standpoint, this is pretty cut and dry to me. I don't think we need to spend much time on this. My condition would just be 1 through 50, adding, the reminder of the erosion controls to be inspected before work can commence. DPS did not submit a memo, and then any conditions that you guys deem necessary. So I would, if you guys have any more
Okay.
comments or
But can
questions.
I just make another comment to it? I just think the idea about the erosion control should be checked regularly by the property owner and make sure that they're in proper order, significant working functional order.
Okay. And if I could just ask about the grading on the left, on the back of the proposed garage, that's the closest to the abutting property. What's the grade, the grading along there? Is it flat? Are you filling over there? Are you cutting? Are you matching existing grade?
No, so between my neighbor's property and where we are proposing to build the garage, it will be left as is. I believe it's gonna be at least 10 feet from their property line.
Is that fairly flat there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, if there aren't any other questions from the commission, I'd entertain opening this up to the guests that are here tonight to speak either for or against this project. I see somebody's got a hand up.
Yes, I'm 171 Lowell Street, Jen Buchanan.
Okay.
Can you tell me, you're pouring a concrete foundation in addition to what's already there?
So our plans are just to dig enough just for support for the garage and throw in the cement slabs on top.
I'm not sure I understand that, because the last meeting, it's already a foundation for a 2-car garage. So what's the footing gonna be and how far are you digging? Because I have a wall that's right against it. And if you dig
Mhm.
too much, it'll undermine that wall. That's
Yeah,
been
so
100 years.
to be honest with you, I don't want to give you false information, but what I spoke to Rob, he said that there was not much digging, was just a little bit down for the supports for the walls.
I guess
Well,
I
yeah.
would know the depth. A little bit doesn't help me.
Yeah, no, it's got
Yeah,
to,
I'm sorry.
you need a 4-foot footing for the, to support the new building. So if there's an existing, we can go back to the photo, the plan there. Because I didn't notice an existing garage. I wasn't. So. Oh, okay, so that pad that's back there is part of a. Okay.
It's part of an old garage or it's an old slab.
Yeah,
This is rubble concrete.
okay, so if you can open that drawing up a little more so you can see both. You need to zoom out, yeah. Keep a little more.
You
I
want
need
me to
see-
zoom out?
The
Yeah, I
other
wanna-
direction, yeah.
to see the both plans. Okay. Oops. Okay, now I see it. Now I see. Yeah, so the existing foundation of the pad will be, part of it's gonna be grass. Apparently, it looks like there's gonna be a tree planted and some grass where part of that pad is, and the other part of the pad will be become part of the driveway. So I imagine that's probably gonna be taken up. And then the garage, it's a separate building. It will have its own foundation and the footing needs to be 4 feet in the ground.
Through the chair, wouldn't this be stuff that would go through the building department? They're obviously not gonna let them put a garage in that is gonna compromise someone's wall. We're not architects or, designers. I mean, we're here for wetlands.
Has Public Services commented on this?
Public Service is not gonna comment on this because it's a garage, so they don't have time to just comment on garages.
Right.
A question for the applicant is, does the applicant have any knowledge of whether or not the architect designed it for, have stormwater infiltration?
Unfortunately, I would not be able to answer that. I would have to speak with Rob.
Yeah, through the chair, single family houses don't require any stormwater, so he definitely did not, there's no dry wells or anything in this plan.
Right.
Yeah, through the chair. This plan, as far as conservation is concerned, I see nothing wrong with this plan. I understand the abutters concerns. but she's got to bring that up with the building department once the permit's issued.
Yeah,
That has nothing to
Okay,
do
and
with us. That has
the
nothing to
other
do-
part was the footage between the foundation of the garage to my property. What
Yeah,
is
it's
that supposed to be?
it looks like it's 10 feet. Am I correct about that?
Yes, it should be 10 feet.
So, so the equipment needs to stay within the middle of the property, and the excavation and should take place from inside the lot and not be along that property, along the close property line, if at all possible. I know you can get a vehicle behind there and you can cut that trench and then bring it over to the middle of the property and truck that, the spoils away and then put the foundation in. And you can probably, it's 10 feet, so that certainly is enough distance that should not disturb the other property, especially if grade is pretty much, the existing grade is the proposed grade. So there's no filling.
I'll make a motion.
So does that?
Wait, I
help?
think there's someone else in the
Okay,
audience.
sorry.
Okay,
But Mike, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Mike Rizzo, Mike Vivaldi.
Mike Vivaldi.
Both of, well, Mike Rizzo was saying something. I thought you were about to close it, but we can't close it because there's definitely one more person in the audience who has their hand
Yeah.
up.
She just texted me and said she can't get in.
Oh,
No,
Um,
she's in. I have to promote her. So when the time comes, we will promote her. So do we
Oh.
want me to promote her, Mr. Rizzo?
yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. My name is Joyce Barab.
You're on mute.
So sorry.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Introduce
Yes.
yourself again.
Okay, my name is Joyce Barabee. My mother's name is Stella Spiropoulos. She is technically the owner, but we are here and she has hearing aids, so she can hear you, but I'm gonna just say my piece, and if she wants to add something, that's fine. I don't have a problem with our neighbor improving their property or doing anything whatsoever. The only issue I have is that initially they did pour truckloads of fill over there. Now, one of the people has said that it was taken away and taken care of, but I have to say that it's not the way that it was prior to the fill being put there, because now I have the whole side that abuts them is being washed away, like all my soil, all my mulch that has been there for years, because we've owned the property for close to 40 years. That stuff's gone. It's like down the hill, washed away. There's even an exposed drain pipe there. Okay, so their grade has changed. The natural course of water has been altered, and my property was never wetland, but it's going to soon become that if especially if they're going to keep on expanding their runoff by adding a building and a paved area. That all that water is going to find the low spot to go to, which is my side. So I don't know what you want to do with that, but that definitely involves grading and course of water.
And I'd like to add something. In 2021, I called the Conservation Committee and I told them that the people next door, they have brought 4 trucks full of filling. And I have made some pictures, and I have them here too. And they supposed to take most of it away, but they never did. They lay it all over, so they changed all the water coming to my property. So we've been spending money to close it. We built cement, it broke the cement and the water leaked into the property. And I notified Miss Del Negro, and she almost accused me that
Have something against these people.
it was my problem. I didn't have anything to do with these people. I don't know them. But I can stand when I spend all this money for 50 years and fulfill all my obligations to the city and have this destroy my property. So I'm very much like against what they are planning to do if they are not taking away all the dirt and the filling that brought it to our property. Thank you.
Okay.
I was
May
just
I-
gonna, if I could say, in response to that, it's, I believe one property owner cannot shed water onto another property owners. So it's, it would be, it's like a, not illegal, but it's a, a property dispute from one owner to shedding water onto a property up to another property.
But the point is, they
The-
never took the fill away.
The point is that
And
they
she said didn't
changed,
fill.
they altered the natural course of the water. We, for years and years and decades, we had no runoff pushing away all this dirt or the mulch. And all of a sudden, since they brought that fill, we've had slow erosion until this spring, the whole thing went down. I even had a sprinkle head that popped from the pressure of too much,
Water.
stuff, soil, and it exploded. And anyway, bottom line is, up until there was an alteration of their grading, we had no flooding, no runoff, no problem.
So
But-
do you know where that grading took place?
Well,
Right where they're putting their proposed.
No, the
garage
fill.
A little bit further forward
where
into the buffer zone.
the fill was placed. And it stayed there for quite a while because it was placed in the fall. And yes, they put some tarps on it and a few boards to hold down the tarps, but the wind blew them around. And yes, it eroded and it kept on going. And slowly all that settled. None of it was really taken away. It was all spread and moved until finally it looked like it looked before. But it isn't, because it's higher than it was. All the water, and all along the fence, they've placed gravel and raised beds where they put garden, which is fine. But basically, it's a
Drainage.
great place for all the water to run into our property because of the changes they've made to their property.
Yeah, I wish your engineer was here tonight so we could ask him some questions about that. Did it look like it was?
Excuse me,
Lucia?
I'm sorry, may I speak?
Yes.
I'm just out of words. I'm very baffled with all the accusations that are being upon myself. Yes, there were loads of dirt come into my property. When I first moved in, I was not aware of the type of property that I had. My neighbor contacted Lucia. Then Lucia contacted me. I even contacted Lucia before she got to me, and I asked her, like, oh, hey, I'm having this complaint. Can you please help me out? She was very informative. She helped me throughout the way, told me what to do. The stockpiles were there for a while until approved by Lucia to be removed. Stockpile were completely removed. They were not just moved around my property. I'm not sure why is it that now they're blaming the stockpile for the erosions that are occurring in their property. To me, it's unbelievable and very baffling for them to bring this accusation to me and say that that's the cause for the problems in their property. I don't believe it is. And pictures were sent to Lucia. Once they were removed, everything was done as asked for.
It's through the chair. I believe it was actually on one of our agendas, however many years ago that was. I told you guys last time I was out there with Captain Dowling, the fire
Yes.
the fire captain, because there was
Yes.
complaints that they were allegedly blowing dynamite in the backyard, which was obviously a false accusation. And
Nobody said dynamite. We just heard
okay,
it.
through the chair. So I believe it was on one of your agendas as a violation order, and then it was removed from the violation because they did everything I asked for.
No,
So, I feel like if this is a single family property, they do not need to do any stormwater. If you want to ask her to go back and try to do some stormwater for a garage, I mean, sure, but
I'm
that,
just, when they did the grade, when they regraded or took that material out, was there erosion controls put in place and was it seeded so that it would vegetate and not be washed out in case it should rain?
Yes, erosion control were put all around the stockpiles.
did anybody came to see our property, the damage that it was doing it? Nobody. Mr. Luca, she never came to knock at my door, though I was the one
That's
that I
filed the complaint.
let her know. Now, if she accused me of being somehow
Biased.
biased to these people, I'm an immigrant too. So she can't put that on me. And I'm 50 years in this country. And I never tried to do any wrong to my neighbor. And now she comes to accuse me of something. Shame on her. I'm 84 years old, lady, and you gotta respect me.
I'm sorry, I'm respecting you.
Yeah.
The disrespect is coming from your behalf. I appreciate that you're taking care of the environment. And as I told you that time we had the conversation, I would take all necessary measures to have this under control, which I did. And still the accusations are coming from your behalf towards me. I do not appreciate that. I have never taken the time to go to your property and say, this is incorrect, let me call the city hall. I don't need that. It doesn't matter to me.
We're not trying to stop you from doing anything. Honestly, I have to stress the fact that what you do is of no concern to me. The only concern I have is that before you put the soil there, we had no water taking away soil and eroding things. That mulch was there for over 10 years before you got there. And now you explain to me how it is that all of a sudden that's all washing away. It's not like we had massive rains. We actually had a very dry spring. So I'm not being unreasonable. You guys can do whatever you want on to your property, any improvements, any changes, but please, when it affects our property, that's when we have to say, hey, we gotta raise our hand. We're not trying to stop you or you can do whatever you want. I don't care
Okay.
about.
All
Through the
right.
chair, through the
I
chair,
think-
I think we need to continue this till her engineer's here. And
Yeah.
at this point, because she obviously can't answer the questions correctly.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that the grades were, however we can determine it, and I know it can be determined, that the grades were the same as before the fill was brought in.
I concur.
I have a question. Can we close the hearing subjected to the providing the additional information that was asked that I was not able to answer, as well as the concerns that is being brought up?
No, we can't do that. If it was a different kind of question or a different concern or something that just needed to be added to the plan that wasn't there, we probably could do something like that, but we're not going to close a public hearing with these unanswered questions. And in fairness for you, I mean, you're not an engineer and your representative wasn't able to be here tonight. I think it's important that you get proper representation by a professional to stand up for you. And if it means we have to come back out there and do a site visit, then we should do that. But I think we need to continue this because there's too many unanswered questions.
Wholeheartedly.
And if we close the public hearing, that means we got to vote, and there could be vote to deny it, and I don't want to see that happen. So
That's not our intent, by the way. That's
right. So
that's
let's.
not what we're after. So just to be clear.
Okay. So I would like to see if it's okay with Ms. Krista Statomo, I would like to continue this to our next meeting, and when Mr. Marini can be there, and maybe we need a site visit.
Yes,
Agreed.
that's fine.
That would be very, very beneficial.
Okay, so I got do I have a motion?
Motion to continue the public hearing until September 13th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I
Okay.
appreciate and I apologize if I speak.
That's
too loud.
okay. No need to apologize. Okay, we need a
All
roll
right, that
call.
motion was made by Mr. Vivaldi, second by Mr. Comack. Roll call. Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes,
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
So that is continued to September 13th, 5-0.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next item on the agenda is item number 5. It's a public hearing on a notice of intent submitted by Gibraltar Pools Corporation, PJ D. Bernardo, for Joseph and Bridget Mucci, property owner. Proposed work is in the installation of an above-ground pool in the buffer zone to Devil's Dishful Pond. The property is not 71 Lake Street, map 45, lot 39A in the city of Peabody. Is the petitioner here?
Yes, I'm Peter DiBernardo, PJ.
Okay.
Please explain your proposal.
We've been able to take it out of the 25-foot buffer, and we want to build an above-ground pool with a cantilevered safety ledge around the pool. The water area of the pool, the edge of water would be 12 by 24, so it's one of our smaller models. And we'd like to put it directly behind the house, about 26.5 feet from the edge of the pond.
Okay. We have a plan to show. Can you put the plan up? I have a couple questions on this site.
Lucia, is it possible for you to do that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. It's a very tight site. And most of the site, with the exception of your house, is almost a do not disturb zone. So I'm wondering how you're gonna get in there, and you're gonna get in there from the left side of your house?
No, I think we would get in there from the right side of the house. And we use a Bobcat. That's a little one-man tractor with a sod removal implement. So it's all going where established lawn is. And we'll be in there for probably 40 minutes with the machine. And then we'll take that off site, and all the rest of the assembly of the above ground pool will be done completely by hand. You know, another thing I wanted to mention is we use a self-contained cartridge system. So there is no backwashing of treated pool water into the yard. Everything stays within the wall of the pool. There will be no backwashing as there would with traditional pools.
All right, can you just zoom back out? I see more of the site. Okay. All right, so it says 25-foot buffer zone. There's no such thing. I believe that 25 feet is a no disturb zone that was established with this property at the time when this was first developed. And then that 25-foot area I thought was supposed to be a protected area where no activity would take place. And if you were gonna go up around the right side of the property, you are in that no disturb zone, not a buffer zone. There's no, that's not buffer zone. I could be wrong. You can correct me, but my understanding is that's a do not disturb area. That's one
Yeah,
of
I
my,
don't, I'm pretty sure we're not doing anything in that
if you're
25 foot.
if you're bringing trucks in there, you're doing something. You're
Yeah,
disturbing.
we don't bring trucks, so it's a small tractor. We could
Tractor is-
probably, yeah, it's 5 feet wide, but we could, it's a little bigger than a lawnmower, but we could definitely, if it was mandated by the commission, we could probably dig this by hand. In other words, remove the sod with spades. It just would take half a day for us to do that, but we could do that if you didn't want the Bobcat back there. I have no
Yeah.
problem. These people would like a pool, so I would do that.
All right, my other question is, the 25-foot buffer. There's wetland flags that aren't connected up. There's flags there that are closer than the edge of the pond. So the wetland or the BBW is actually closer to the pool. It's closer than 25 feet.
Good point, Mike.
And because the elevation of the pond can vary. In real dry climate, dry weather, it could be lower. In springtime, it can be a little bit higher, but the BVW, which is defined by the flags,
By the
You're supposed
vegetation.
soils and vegetation, you're supposed to have those flags are supposed to be connected. And that is actually the BVW. And so you wouldn't be 25 feet from there. You're going to be less than 25 feet if you're following the 25-foot buffer. So
So we've got it, point taken, and I understand what you're saying. Just one point about the pool construction. So we're a rectangular above ground pool. The edge of the water is the interior dimension, the 12 by 24, and then we've got that 2-foot cantilever around it, which doesn't touch the ground. So really that distance that's shown to the approximate edge of the pond, I would say the swim area could be proven to be the water. In other words, the thing that people are most concerned about in something like this is the edge of water. That could be, I'm sure, measured to be 25 feet, but I could revise the plan for that.
yeah,
From
it
the
seems like the so on the left side of the property, that 155-foot dimension, is that 26 feet? So
Yes.
All right, and so is there BBW on the other side of the property? That I noticed
Or is that supposed to be like a lot line distance?
well, it says it's labeled as buffer, which doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't mean anything in terms of,
But
except that I'm familiar with this property because I was involved with the permitting for the property when that house was built.
the adjacent property, right?
And it was a very contentious project. And it was very difficult for us as a commission to get the right conditions in there to be able to put a home in there and being so close to the pond. And we were very clear with the people who built that, how about what the restrictions that is being brought upon them by them because it's such a tight and small site. And this is what they had to work with. And I remember that I thought it was a 25-foot no disturb zone around there, and it didn't leave much property. And we tried to make that case to the folks, and it still went through. And they appealed it, and they won the appeal. So now here we are now back in. Some new people have come in. They live there now, and they want to put a pool in, and I totally appreciate that. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying that I don't know if this plan is properly represented with the right
Information. I
with the
agree,
right
Mike.
information. The flagging is not really shown correctly. The line should be connected And I'm just not familiar, I'm not positive about that 25 foot. So I'm not opposed to somebody putting a pool in, I just don't know if the site is being represented properly.
Through the chair, there's also not any erosion controls down.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, certainly that would be something that we would do with silt, whatever is called for, we would do that in the OOC. We'll follow every,
yeah.
Through the chair, at the size of the pool, I mean, let them dig it by hand and we'll be done with it. No disturbance, let them put it there. It's a cartridge filter. There's no release into the water, into the anything there. If he's willing to dig it by hand, I mean, it's an above ground pool.
Yeah. Okay, are there any other questions from any of the commissioners?
Just through the chair, are there any aerial photos or something to see where the river is?
Pond, the pond. It's a lake.
so Mary Trudeau did we hired a wetlands consultant to do a report. And she did submit some maps with the application, and maybe I could kind of show one of those. A little
Okay.
bit imperfect, but 1 second, please.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, I don't, if you deny it, they just appeal it to DEP, and I'm pretty sure DEP is gonna give them the permit for the pool, so it all depends on how, it's a pool.
Yeah, that doesn't help me.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Um,
I mean, you can just look on Google Maps. You can see exactly, what it is.
yeah.
I mean, I have it up on my screen right now. I mean, it's a lawn area. He's gonna put it in the lawn area. If he's willing to, I get Michael's point. It's very tight going around the right side of that house. But it's in, I mean, if he's willing to hand dig it, which it's certainly possible.
Well, I think if they hand dig it, don't bring any tractors or,
Big machinery, right?
yeah, bring machinery that's gonna further alter that 25 foot no disturb or buffer. Then I suppose I could support that. I mean, I'm not opposed to somebody putting a pool in their backyard. I just don't want any more development and impact from the bank of the pond as a result of that. So if they do it by hand, then they wouldn't have to worry about equipment and gas fueling and that kind of stuff.
Pretty small pool.
Yeah. Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, is anybody from the audience?
Mr. Mucci has his hand raised.
Who?
Mr. Mucci, the property owner.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it.
You're on mute, sir. Go ahead. We still can't hear you.
I think Joe just texted me and said it was a mistake. I think we're good. I'm handling it. This is Peter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, all right, so is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on this matter? Any neighbors? Okay, there aren't any. I would like to see the plan revised to show those wetland flags connected
And erosion controls.
and erosion control.
I'll certainly do that.
Okay.
I could, having an aerial would be helpful, the one that you held up to the screen, maybe.
Yep, I'll supply that too.
Okay. So is there any other questions from the commission that, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call.
Yep, that motion to close was made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Mr. Athos. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
yes,
All right, so that passes unanimously, 5-0.
Okay, do I have a motion to issue a order of conditions?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Just standard order of conditions with the amended revised plan prior to construction and needs to be reviewed by staff prior to construction.
Okay, and also the condition that the excavation will be done.
Absolutely. No big machinery,
Right.
no vehicles.
Okay, so we're gonna get a revised plan that shows erosion controls and the wetland flags connected up. And conditions 1 through 50. You said it's a closed system. We have a poll comment relative to if you had to drain it out, let the water sit for 7 days so the chlorine would dissipate.
Yes.
before you could discharge. So we're gonna put that condition in there anyways. even though
Yeah,
it's
we
a-
traditionally I do it for 30 days before any emptying the pool, so that's fine.
Okay,
Michael, your comment about the wetland flags, what does that mean? He's not gonna pay for someone to redelineate that. So what
no,
does that?
it's, no, the flags are already there. I want the line drawn on the plan so you can clearly
Draw the
see.
line? You just want the line drawn?
Yeah, he's gonna connect flag 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 with a line so it stands out.
Okay.
I
And
almost
then
didn't see it.
that line will also be changed through the chair, that the distance from the resource will also be changed, because I'm gonna need that for the permit.
Yeah, I'm
Because on
gonna
the order of conditions, it says how far is it from the wetlands? So I'm gonna need to know, right now, it says, I think 25 feet, but it's not 25 feet, as you guys just discovered.
What if it changes to like 18 or 19 feet?
No, what I'll do, I'm very certain that to the edge of water, if it's okay, Lucia, I'll redraw that because the decking, the little
But
ledge there.
no, you cannot alter someone else's plan. I don't want to go back
No,
down
this
that
is not
road.
me. No, it's not
Okay,
me.
so
The surveyor's gonna do it.
it's
Yeah.
I would imagine those flags are BBW. So BBW is different from edge of water.
Okay,
The edge of water varies depending on what time of the year.
I got you.
But
Thank
the
you.
wetlands, because it's defined by hydric soils and plants and hydrology, that defines where the BBW is.
I understand.
So the distance to the BBW. So, so you want to show your dimension from the flag to the corner of the pool.
Yes.
And are we gonna be okay if that dimension drops down to 18 or 19, 20 feet?
I guess it's up to the commission. I
Yeah.
guess we could let that go. I just don't have the data in front of me that says.
Right.
Well, I just have, could I say one thing? So
Yeah.
if it's okay, I'm gonna have the surveyor measure from the flag to the edge of water, which is the interior dimension of the above ground pool. Again, the cantilever around the pool is a small ledge that it's a safety ledge, so you can reach somebody in distress at the end of the pool. You can walk next to it. It's kind of like a little mini deck at the top of the water.
Yeah.
So, but the water is, I think, what most people are concerned about. And I'll have the flag to the edge of water, if that's okay, Lucia, on the plan. I'll have them do it. I'll have it to both.
Now, I wanted to see it to the flag. I want to
Yes.
see it to the BBW.
The pool,
Sorry,
the
when I
pool,
refer to the edge of water, I'm talking about the
pool.
pool edge of
the
water.
pool to the flag.
Oh,
Yes.
the pool, yeah.
Not
Yes.
the decking, but the pool.
Not the-
And that's
Okay, yep. Okay,
the
Well,
I'm
then-
sure
actual-
that'll be 25.
all right.
And if it's not, then we've already closed the public hearing anyway, so.
If it's not, it's not.
Right,
I mean, it's above ground pool, guys.
yep.
So I'm
Not
gonna
one.
go ahead and finish, you guys. I agree, Bruce, 100%. I'm gonna go ahead. So that motion was made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Mr. Vivaldi. The conditions were hand digging, erosion controls need to be inspected before work commences. But before any of that happens, we want the plan revised to show the wetland flags connected and the erosion controls, as well as the distance from the flags to the pool, however you want to do a pool, water, et cetera. So again, that was made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Mr. Vivaldi. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes,
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes,
Commissioner Comack,
Yes,
Commissioner Green,
Present.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that passes 4-1 with Amanda voting present.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is item number 6, the public hearing on notice of intent submitted by Norse Environmental Services, Inc., Maureen Herald. Proposed work is removal of existing deck, stairs, and footing. Reinstall new footings, a 12x12 prefab sunroom, construct a 12x12 deck, stairs, associated grading and utilities. Property is known as 6 LeBlanc Drive, map 25, lot 124 in the city of Peabody.
Good evening, Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental. I will bring in the plan for the commission.
Okay,
All righty. So we filed a notice of intent with the commission to raise a deck, stairs and footing. We would like to reinstall new footings, install a 12x12 prefab sunroom, construct a 12x12 deck, stairs, associate grading and utilities within the 100-foot buffer zone of a BVW and Peabody's 200-foot bylaw buffer zone from an intermittent stream. So the wetlands are shown on the plan as the A series, fairly well defined, follow a topographic drop on the lot. We show the intermittent stream in this location here. The proposed sunroom will be 36 feet off of the closest wetland flag. Here's the 100-foot buffer zone, and the entire lot is located within the 200-foot buffer of the intermittent stream. I also have some photographs I can show the commission for those of you who haven't had an opportunity to go out. So this is the existing deck that we would like to remove. The fortunate news is this is in the backyard, and as you can see from the photographs, we're not proposing any tree removal. It is within an area of lawn, and it's fairly flat, as you can see from the photographs. And we also do incorporate erosion controls into the project, which is shown here, which is basically along the lawn area. DEP has provided a file number, and we have no comments. And I can open it up to the commission with any questions or concerns.
this looks pretty straightforward to me. You're actually, part of the work is where the old deck was, and that's where the enclosure will be, and then there'll be a 12x12 open area. Is that
Correct.
correct?
It's right up adjacent to the house. Is that where it
Yeah.
is? Yep.
Yeah, yes.
Seems
So
pretty
it'll be a
straightforward.
deck and a sunroom. So we're proposing to raise that rear deck, which is shown right here. And we'd like to do a prefab sunroom and another deck in this location.
There's no foundation, it's all on sonotubes or whatever, posts.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, are you putting a hot tub here too?
No, there's actually an existing hot tub that's located right here.
Oh, okay.
And my client has, I believe he had that permitted at a different time. And he's actually here tonight, I believe, Christopher Bresnahan.
Okay. Yeah, so are there any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there anybody from the public who wishes to speak on this matter? Any hands up? I can't see any. Okay, if there's no other questions, if anybody, any commissions have any questions?
What's the distance that's shown? Is it 35? I can't read that.
No, sir, that is 36 feet to
36.
wetland flag 2A.
Yep.
And it's already grass and stuff, so I don't see any trouble with that. If there's no questions, I make entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, that was a motion to close, correct?
Yes.
And I heard Bruce's voice first, so I'm gonna say Bruce made the motion, seconded by Mr. Athis. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
All right, so it's closed 5-0 with no comments from the public.
Okay, a motion to issue an order of conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a second. Need a roll call for that, Lucia?
Yep, so that was made by Mr. Comac, seconded by Ms. Green. Condition, you said 1 through 50, correct?
Okay, I didn't mention the conditions yet. I just wanted voting on to issue an order of conditions.
Oh, okay.
Issue 1 through 50 and additional erosion controls to be inspected prior to the commencement of the work.
All right, that it?
Yeah.
Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
So that order passes 5-0 unanimously.
All righty, thank you.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is item number 7. It's a notice of intent submitted by attorney John R. Kelty for the Farhat Group owner and the applicant AGA Foster LLC. The proposed work is the redevelopment of a former leather factory for the commercial storage building. The building is known as 47 Tremont Street. We have a request from the petitioner to continue this. So I have a motion to continue.
I make a motion to continue the public hearing until September 13th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
All right, so that 47 Tremont is continued to September 13th, 5-0.
All right. Very good. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 8, is a public hearing and notice of intent submitted by William A. Spragus, LLC, for Ray Felipe. Proposed work is, what is it? Felipe?
Felipe.
Felipe? All right, sorry. Proposed work is the construction of a commercial building, driveways, parking, landscape, utilities, stormwater, public walk trail with a canoe launch and river area restoration, property known as 60 Pulaski Street in the city of Peabody. We have a request from petitioner to continue this to our next meeting. Motion to continue this.
Make a motion to continue the project.
Continue to the next meeting in September.
Okay, second.
Second,
Okay, motion by Arthur, second by Michael. Roll call.
Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes,
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that is continued to September 13th, 5-0.
All righty. Okay, our next item on the agenda is under abbreviated notices of resource area delineation. It's item 9 on the agenda. It is a public hearing on an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation submitted by Wetlands Land Management, Bill Manuel, for JND Real Estate Solutions LLC, John DeCoulis. The applicant is seeking confirmation for the extent and location of wetland resource areas that may be subject to jurisdiction under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the City of Peabody Wetland Ordinance within the surrounding the property known as 24.5 North Central Street, map 64, lot 28 in the city of Peabody.
Good evening, Bill Manuel from Wetlands and Land Management in Danvers, and I'll put a plan up on the screen.
Okay,
So the property is 24.5 North Central Street. It's a small residential lot, homes on either side of it. It backs up to the old MBTA tracks in the back. There are wetlands, there's a ditch along the track, and there are vegetated wetlands that border that extend up into the property. The delineation was fairly simple for me. I'll zoom in a little bit more. The land on either side of the property was higher, so it was higher over here and higher over here, and this is sort of low ground in between. There was a curious strip of a linear strip of land in the backyard that was higher than the rest of it on either side, and that led right to a nice apple tree. I don't know why this was higher, but obviously someone had created that in the past. But I flagged the wetlands in May. The ground surface in May was pretty squishy. There was puddling on the surface. Right at flags 2 and 3, A2 and 3 and B2 and 3, there was a distinct drop off. This is only about 40 feet or so, 40 to 50 feet behind the house. So I put a wetland flag A1 right here on the property line. It extended right up along basically right along the property line, because this is higher and this is lower, and then cut right across the property at that distinct drop off down along that linear feature, jumped over it, back up along a little swale, and then turned back and headed towards the back of the property. So there's flags A1 through A5 connecting to B1 through B5. There's also that ditch along the railroad tracks. And so there is a 200-foot riverfront, a locally protected riverfront zone that extends from that intermittent stream ditch. And that comes to this red line here, which is identified on the plan. So there's no work proposed under this ANRAD, obviously. We are just trying to confirm the wetland resource areas on the site before the owner does any planning or engineering.
okay. Any questions from the board?
so we through the chair, we're just basically accepting, we're here to accept the delineation.
All right.
Well,
So Lucia, did you get to go out and see that?
Yep, there's some pictures on the OneDrive, and there was also on the red line. I put a link so that you guys could just click to right to the pictures.
Okay,
It's basically an overgrown backyard and it's wetlands. And if you probably went out there and they were mowing it, you would probably not think it's wetlands like it looks. And
Well,
it doesn't show up as GIS. We had something similar on this street. I think it was the next door neighbor, remember when John McMurray was on the commission? Mike, you
Yeah.
might be the only one who remembers. And the wetlands were very similar. It was on basically a grassed yard that there was one wetland flag that ruined the whole project.
yeah.
So this looks like a pretty similar. This GIS does not show wetlands this close
Yeah.
up. I don't know, Bill, if you have the GIS, I don't know if you wanted to show that.
That would be a challenge for me to share my screen on that, so I don't have it.
All right, but I mean, if you look at those pictures, it's just really overgrown. I mean, he could have mowed it before I got there and it would have looked like grass and we would have had to rely completely on just the soil samples. Which I did have Bill pull up the soil in the upland to show me the difference.
Yeah, I saw
there-
the auger, saw the picture of the soil from the auger. Yeah, it seems, I don't question the delineation. The only thing that confuses me is I question the contouring. And maybe you can explain it better to me. How if you got wetlands on two sides and the piece in the middle looks like it must be a little higher or something. You got contour 58 going across through the wetland, then it's not wetland, then it's wetland. It's just, how is that? Is it?
Yeah, this is obviously historically some fill was placed here. As I said, there's a nice, beautiful apple tree right at the end of this linear feature here. I have no idea, is it a coincidence or did they want nice dry access to that apple tree? Yeah, it looks like historically someone a long time ago placed some fill there to have a path down to the backyard.
So the contour is not correct then?
No, the contour is correct. This is 58 and you can see the spot shots along. There's a 57.5 and then there's a 56.4 here. So that this 58 is correct.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense, according to the pictures.
Yeah, it just looks like there should be wetland in between that. If elevation 58 is going across there, then that's where groundwater is. It's where but there were no soils in there that said that was wetland also?
No, it was distinctly higher than the other, than on either left or right of it.
Right, so that, okay, that's what I mean. If it was higher, then it can't be elevation 58.
I mean, you can see a spot right here between the flag B4 and this spot right here. This is a foot higher than the wetland.
Obviously, it was obviously filled in the past.
Yeah. So it's just. If it's higher than the contour, I'm not gonna make a big deal of it, but the contour doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. Looks like looks like the 58 contour should go into that white area and be dragged down close to the end where 56 is, and somewhere there maybe 58 is, then it comes back and around again. But I ain't worried about it.
Now, you would probably see it, Mr. Rizzo, if we had 1 foot contours. Because as I said, here's a 58, here's a 57.5, here's a 56.4. If we had 1 foot contours, you'd have a 57 that, would sort of come across and do like what my cursor's doing.
Yeah.
Here's a 57.4 over here, but we only have the 2 foot contours.
All right. All right, I'm not gonna belay this.
And what is this a residential or industrial, more a business zone of Peabody?
No, this is a residential zone to my knowledge. These are all residential houses.
Okay, let's move forward on this. So do we want to accept the delineation as presented? And
Any public comment?
is there anybody there, Lucia, that wants to speak on this?
No one is raising their hand.
Okay,
Oh, wait, actually, someone is raising their hand. It says Samsung, so I'm just gonna allow them to speak. And hopefully it's
Okay.
not a hacker, so.
Go ahead, Mr. Simpson.
Hi, this is a neighbor,
Kim and Jim.
Kim and Jim, the Bates next door to the home.
okay.
What is
Go
the
ahead.
property address?
24A North Central Street.
Okay, you have a question?
No, I just wanted to agree with the gentleman who did the survey. I mean, our yards, our secondary yard, it floats. It's very, very wet back there. I agree entirely with what he is saying.
Halfway floats.
Okay.
There was a staged area in the back of that neighbor's yard at one point. I'm not sure if that was part of that thing to the apple tree I heard, but as far as the wet part of it, he's correct in our experience.
Okay. Well, I thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, is anybody else? Seeing none, then.
Yes, so there's someone named Steven, so hold on one moment.
All righty.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Paul Stevens from 24 North Central Street. To the left of that property by two houses. I had one question. I'm just curious on, at that time the survey was done, what was our seasonal water level? Because that could increase or decrease depending on the amount of rainfall we got. So I don't know if we have that information for historic highs, historic lows, medians.
this is just this is for the delineation of the BBW. So that would be the height of the water normally wouldn't matter. It's the identification of the BBW where they use soils and hydric soils, the hydrology and plant life and so forth to make the determination of where the wetland boundary is, just for that reason, because sometimes water's higher at certain times of the year. So you can still determine where the wetland is. So you're asking a groundwater question, I
I
believe.
was asking for yes and no. So not just groundwater, but flow into that yard. These properties are really low. Everything
Yeah.
around us is pretty much a hill. So even runoff water has a hard time, dissipating. So I'm wondering if the property is being mowed and stuff like that, and the vegetation is an indicator, how far out were the soil samples taken? And were they taken at every single one of those flag points? Or was that just the flag points were based on what was spongy at the time and elevation levels?
I'll let Mr. Manuel answer that question.
Sure, this is Bill Manuel. The wetland delineation was done on May 11th of this year. Yes, May 11th. Soils were saturated to the ground surface in many areas. It was actually puddling on the surface in the grass area, in the high grass area, in areas that I flagged as wetland. There was standing water in the rear of the property. So I'm fairly certain that the water tables were as high as they're ever going to be on this particular property. And as Vice Chairman Rizzo indicated, when we look at wetlands, we look at a combination of vegetation and soils. In a case where we have a maintained lawn and we don't have a natural vegetation community, we have to rely primarily on soils. And when we do that, we look at soil color, soil texture, and certain indicators that tell me that there is prolonged soil saturation during the growing season. Now, in this particular property, there was a very distinct drop off from the higher, drier lawn area directly behind the house to the wetter lawn area that's basically, I'd say 2/3 of the backyard.
All right. Did that answer your question?
It answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, does anybody else want to speak on this matter? Okay, then seeing none, anybody else in the commission, you want to close the public hearing? The motion to close the public hearing on the on the abbreviated notice, and we can rule on whether we're going to accept it.
So moved.
Yes, seconded.
Okay, roll call.
Made by, motion to close made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so it is closed 5-0.
Okay, great. All right, so in this case, make a motion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the delineation as presented.
So
Anybody-
moved.
Okay, anybody want to second that?
Seconded.
Okay. Roll
I'm-
call.
I'm sorry, I missed, who made that motion? I heard Amanda
Uh,
second it.
I think Arthur did.
Arthur, did you make that motion? Yes, all right. So that was a motion to accept the ANRAD plan as shown, correct?
Yes.
As made by Mr. Athos, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so the ANRAD has been accepted 5-0. And I just want to let the people in the audience know that, you know, keep an eye out, because when a project is coming before us, that's obviously when you guys are probably going to want to be here. That's going to be the most important. So you will be notified the same way you were notified for this hearing.
All right.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna unmute Mr. Samsung again. That's not his real name, but I can't remember his real name. I'm just gonna unmute him again.
I think it was a woman. Yeah.
We just wanted,
We want to say thank
we
you.
just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. Okay, so item number 10 on the agenda is under certificates of compliance. It's a request for a full certificate of compliance is made by Bill Manuel, Wetlands and Land Management, Inc. on a local order of conditions. No DEP file number presented at this time. The project was the demolition of an existing propane filling shed and the construction of a new garage building. The address is known as 99 Linfield Street, map 101, lot 24 in the city of Peabody.
Okay, this is Bill Manuel from Wetlands and Land Management. And I'll put the as-built plan on the screen. And recall, this is at the Mobile Mart or the Holden property on Linfield Street, 99 Linfield Street. And recall there was an old filling shed for the propane, folks that want their propane canisters refilled. It was in this location. That was demoed and replaced with a nice new sort of office and garage building. And there was a couple of other sort of temporary storage areas that were removed, Connex boxes that were removed in the back here. Everything is all stabilized. Remember, this was in the buffer zone to this intermittent stream. It was only locally jurisdictional because the source of the hydrology was from a catch basin in Linfield Street, which is right about here. It discharged here and then it eventually flowed down to Goldthwaite Brook out much further down the hill beyond this. So Lucia and I visited the property last week. Everything is completely stabilized. There was one little loam pile and that has since been raked out and seeded. So that was sort of right behind here. And I have no doubt that it's probably greening up as we speak.
Okay. So were you familiar with the project, Bill, when they were building it? Did you do
Yes.
did you do the original delineation?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Remember, I brought the notice of intent to the commission.
Okay. I remember, but I trust you. All right, because you're the one who was asking for, you're asking for the certificate of compliance and not a surveyor or an engineer. And I don't question your abilities at all. I just,
Yep, we have the as-built plan from Eastern Land Survey, and since I was involved in the permitting, it makes sense that I do the request.
Okay. All right. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
According to the pictures, it looks pretty straightforward. I mean, the actual
Yeah,
photographs, it's pretty
Photos look
straightforward.
nice, look a nice job. So if there's no questions from the commissioners, is there anybody here from the public want to speak on this matter? If I don't see any, are there any hands up, Lucia?
Nope. It's not a public hearing anyway, but
Yeah.
we always
Okay.
let people speak.
Do I have a motion to issue a full certificate of compliance?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, roll call.
I would say that you also add the condition that the O&M plan is in perpetuity.
Okay.
Does everyone agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty standard.
Absolutely.
All right, so that motion for a full certificate with condition number 52, the O&M plan is in perpetuity, made by Bruce, seconded by Amanda. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that is a full certificate, 5-0.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 11 on the agenda. It's a continued request on a full certificate of compliance as made by Pete Ogren, Hayes Engineering on DEP file number 55-312. The project was the construction of a service building with associated appurtenances and land grading. The address is known as 13 Cohen Street, map 92, lot 6 in the city of Peabody.
Thank you. Anthony Capuchetti, Tony Capuchetti with Hayes Engineering, 603 Salem Street, Wakefield, for the applicant Stahl USA. So this project's been before you a number of times. It's quite old. It is for some work that was done some 30 years ago. And my understanding was at the last hearing, there was some additional information that the commission was looking for. There was a pipe shown on one of the design plans for a water cooling system that drained out to Goldthwaite Brook. We spent some time looking for that, and then we found on the original plan, the building that pipe originated from was demolished as part of the project. Talking to some of the people at Stahl, that they said that the pipe was removed when the building was demolished, and they no longer used a water cooling system, which was prohibited by law right around that time. So they went to an air-cooled system. So that was removed. And then the other item that was open was the cleaning of the drainage system. So we did pay to have that done. We had a inspection done, provided a report. Bob Langley went out and reviewed that inspection. I believe he sent a memo today stating that he had no objections to the issuance of a certificate of compliance. So I think we've accomplished what the commission's looking to or what the commission was looking for on this project as far as the pipe and the cleaning and inspection of the drainage system.
Okay.
Isn't this the property that's trying to get redeveloped?
Think so, yeah.
It is trying to be sold, but it would be for a similar industrial storage type use, is my understanding. So it wouldn't be a chemical handling plant, but similar use that exists there today or exists recently.
Lucia, do you know if we're still waiting for a memo on this site from DPS at all?
Bob sent it over. It should be on the OneDrive.
Oh, I did see that.
Yep. I mean,
they had no comment.
Yeah, I mean, so if I could just speak briefly through the chair, number
Yes.
11 and number 12 are pretty much the same thing. It's 55312 and 55323. I mean, at this point, we're never like, this file is way too old to ever determine what was done. So it sounds like, and Tony, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is for admin purposes so that you guys can get a clean title, correct?
That is correct.
So if you guys don't, you know, we technically can't determine whether or not everything was done complete on both of these, in my opinion. So as long as this is for, you know, admin purposes only, you should be able to check off the invalid box, and you could state, like, I can rewrite it, I can change it up a little bit. And we could say work is too old to determine if the work has been done in complete compliance. The CC is being issued for clerical admin purposes only. Or if you guys can think of a better way to rephrase it, Tony, maybe, I don't know. If you also think that you can figure out if this was a full, you know, fully done in compliance, we can do the full CC, but I certainly, there was stuff missing. It was really old.
Yeah, I'm okay. I know the site.
For
goes back to-
clarification, that the agenda has 13 and 13. Is it 13 and 15, isn't it?
No, they're both 13 Cohen Street.
That's correct.
Okay.
So there were two outstanding orders.
Yeah, there were two filings.
Okay.
So maybe we can combine the two. I don't know if anybody else wants to speak on this. We talked about this last meeting. I think we actually went out to the site before. I'm okay with issuing the certificate of compliance, the full certificate for both file numbers. So if you want, we can entertain that. So I'll take a motion. I'll take a motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for DEP file number 55-312 and item 55-323 for 13 Cohen Street with the stipulation that was described by Lucia, checking off the invalid box and saying the work was done many years ago and it's can't verify it, but this is for clerical purposes for sale of the property.
So moved.
Second. Second by roll call.
All right, that motion was made by Mr. Cormack, seconded by Mr. Athis. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Cormack.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
So that passes 5-0.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That was for both parcels.
Yeah, 11 and 12. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 13. It's an extension request for an extension permit on DEP file number 55-879. The request is made by William Paulitz, Acting Director of DPS and City Engineer for the City of Peabody. The project is the construction of Endicott Street Bridge and other associated work. The order expires November 25th, 2023. Can I have a motion to extend the order conditions for 1 year?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, roll call.
Yep, so that was made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Ms. Green for 55-879. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Just for clarification, so this pushes out to November 2024?
Yes.
Yes.
And the work should be done. I asked Will if 1 year was sufficient, and if you've been out there, you know that they've started work and they need to get this done. So he said 1 year should be sufficient.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that is extended 1 year, 5-0. Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is under extension request is a request for an extension permit for DEP file number 55-829. Request is made by Solitude on behalf of Cedar Pond Village condominiums. Project is aquatic maintenance and ecological restoration at water bodies located at the condominium complex. The order expires on August 17th, 2023. Looking to extend this for 1 year. There's a motion to extend the order conditions for 1 year.
The purpose is the reason for extending is they need to do more maintenance?
Yeah, every year they always come back, they do continuing maintenance and they come in and they take care of that. So we just do it every year.
So this will be ongoing for many
Yeah.
years? Okay.
Yeah. Motion to extend it?
To the chair first. Should we go beyond 1 year? So
I think I just as soon stay with 1 year. Just in case.
1 year.
Yeah. Unless you feel otherwise.
I think 1 year is sufficient and more because, and right now Solitude is the only game in town, but someday they might not be, and someone else might come in front of us
Right.
for.
Right.
right.
So 1 year extension is more than enough.
Okay, so motion to issue an extension for 1 year. Did somebody make that motion already?
So
Second by someone?
Seconded.
Second by Amanda, roll call?
Yep, I missed who made the motion though. Sorry.
Mike V?
All right. So that motion was made to extend Cedar Pond Village 55-829 order of condition 1 year, made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that is passed unanimously.
All right. Item number 15 on the agenda is another request for extension permit on DEP file number 55-839. The request is made by Solitude on behalf of Huntington Wood condominium. The project is aquatic maintenance, ecological restoration at water bodies located in the condominium complex. The order expires August 22nd, 2023. We're looking to an extension for 1 year. There's a motion to extend this permit for 1 year.
So moved?
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Roll call.
All right, that was a motion made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Ms. Green to extend DEP file number 55-839 for Huntington Woods condominium 1 year. Roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that passes 5-0.
Okay. Item 16 on the agenda is under enforcements. As a continuing enforcement order issued to Alfred DeMambro, trustee for Regency Realty Trust, the work located at 11-13 Waller Street. There are ongoing as well as historic violations on this property, legal dumping application, etc. Stockpiling various items in riverfront floodplain, fill in FEMA floodplain, alteration on riverfront without permit, and ongoing use as what happens to be a contractor's yard. Is the petitioner here? I see Richard
I think
Naylands.
it was recommended for a continuance, no, or no? My mistake.
Not this one.
Okay.
This- I don't think so.
Oh, I think,
Lucia?
can you hear me this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if you recall, this is a 100-year-old contractor's yard. I've been in front of you for several months. We put together a plan where we removed some of the debris was outside. We fixed the catch basin. We also removed considerable amount of debris, put up straw wattles to protect against erosion going into the canal. We had another site visit after that work was done in May. And the chair and Commissioner Rizzo commented that there was still some brick area that was sort of straddled the floodplain line. So we removed that, put it on the outside of the floodplain. This is a slope that I don't have an ability to share a screen, but I think everyone's aware of the site. It slopes down to the canal. So a portion of the site is in the floodplain and then a substantial portion is outside. And our intent has been to move and make sure that any contractor's material is always going to be outside of the floodplain. We've taken steps to do that. We put in permanent markers, steel markers. And so we're prepared. We're looking to get the sign off from the commission so we can end the enforcement order, because I think we've come into compliance with everything that the commission has requested.
Okay. Okay, so we're here to try to get an agreement relative to the enforcement order that the items in the enforcement order were addressed and taken care of. So we can lift the enforcement order. That's how my understanding.
That's correct.
Okay. There was one matter that I haven't been able to see it because I hadn't been to the site, but in our last meeting, we talked about, in addition to cleaning out the brick and cleaning the site up a little bit, we had asked you to locate in that area the floodplain elevation and provide a physical marker that shows physically where the flood elevation is. What is that elevation?
It's 15.7. Mr. Rizzo. So
Yeah.
if you recall, some of the confusion was when we originally put the stakes in, we weren't delineating the actual floodplain elevation. We're showing where it was.
Right.
So after we removed all the material, we went back and we restaked it. I spoke to Chris Mello. We confirmed that the stakes now, the bottom of the stakes are at 15.7.
Okay.
So anything that is canal side would be in the floodplain of those stakes, and anything that is landward is outside of the floodplain at 15.7. I did put that in a letter to the chair back before the ill-fated power outage meeting.
Yeah.
So you do have that on a record.
So that's just a wooden stake, right?
No, it's metal. We replaced the wooden stakes with metal so that they would be, more permanent. Now, we're obviously hoping there's something in front of DEP to develop that property, to change it from a contractor's yard. But for purposes of now and being able to see where the line is and not knock it down, we changed it. When we had that site visit, you're absolutely right. We had wooden stakes and we replaced those with a metal stake.
Okay. So do you know if the metal stake has like a paint mark on it, or it's just whatever the ground is? What I'm getting at, if somebody added soil there and filled the stake 6 inches, how would we know where 15.7 was?
Well, if you want to make as a condition of getting rid of this, that we put a paint line on all, we could do that immediately. Absolutely.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. All right, so am I missing something, Lucia? Are we all set now with this? We're going to just lift the enforcement order. We're not saying the site is in compliance, and then it's in compliance with regard to they've addressed the questions and the items within the enforcement order. Am I correct with that?
Yep, we normally withdraw enforcement orders. I know people have been, since the country clubs come on, we've been throwing out the return to compliance, but the way I was taught by DEP like 17 years ago was it's a withdrawal. You would make a motion to withdraw it, but if you have, it would be contingent on whatever you just spoke with Attorney Nyland about, but about the paint, you do want to be aware that paint washes away.
Yeah, I know, I'm just almost, maybe it could be like a drill mark in the pipe or something like that, or something that's more permanent.
I think
Along-
that would be better.
Yeah, along with some paint, maybe some paint and a drill mark at the ground elevation, and then,
And we'll do belt and suspenders. We'll do a drill mark as well as paint.
okay, thank you. All right, so a motion to remove the enforcement order. I think that's what we're talking about then.
I'll make a motion to withdraw the enforcement order.
Seconded.
Roll call.
Hold on, I'm just writing. So a motion to withdraw made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Amanda, and that is going to be held until we have evidence that those posts at, what was it, marker 15.7, did I hear?
Yeah, elevation 15.7.
15.7 is drill marks and painted.
Yes.
Do we want like photo evidence? And Mike, do you want to sign off on that? I feel like it might be good
Yeah.
if you could sign off with me, just because you're
Yeah.
smarter and you're an engineer.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, roll call. Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that is unanimous.
All righty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Next item on the agenda. Item number 17. Continue enforcement order issued to Dan Mayer of Mayer Tree for the following activities: removal of living tree, grinding, grubbing stumps in buffer zone in close proximity to jurisdictional resource areas, and disposition, depositing wood chips in the buffer zone and along riverfront woods. The property is known as 133 Forest Street in the city of Peabody. Okay, so where we stand on this, we don't have any correspondence from the city solicitor yet, giving the green light. Are we gonna just
Through the
take the-
chair, I
Yes.
actually did speak with Attorney Khan, and I believe Dan Mayer, I just promoted him to panelist, and he's just he doesn't have his video on, but he
Okay.
is here and he is a panelist. I did speak with him and he said at this point, if you guys would like to remove it from the agenda
Mhm.
and withdraw it, you can do so, but you must do so without prejudice.
Okay, so I do have a
And-
motion. I'm sorry.
No, and I would be completely fine with that, because honestly, our meetings are getting way too crazy.
Yeah.
We're having like no need for it to be on if he's just gonna wait around all night and then nothing's gonna happen.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to remove the enforcement order without prejudice. Do I have a motion to do so?
Yes.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor to withdraw the enforcement order without prejudice for Mr. Mayor of Mayor Tree. That motion was made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Mr. Comack. Roll call. Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Present.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
All right, so that passes 4-1 with Amanda voting present.
All right. Very good. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 18. It's a continued enforcement order on Salem Country Club for the following activities: removal of living trees, grinding, grubbing stumps in the buffer zone in close proximity to jurisdictional resource areas, and the depositing wood chips in the buffer zone and along local riverfront property is known as 133 Forest Street. We already had a meeting last month, so we're not going to hear this tonight. So there's a motion to continue this. to our September meeting?
So moved.
By second,
Seconded.
roll call.
Yep, made by Mr. Cormack, seconded by Ms. Green, roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Cormack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so that passes unanimously 5-0. Continue to September 13th if anyone's in the audience.
Great. All right. The other items are minor permits and trees. You want to take that, Lucia?
Yep. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so everything's already been approved. Most of these are all like overflow from the June that was canceled. The only new one is 16 Chestnut Street, and Brendan was the acting agent on that, and that was approved on July 5th. So 21 Glendale, it's a deck rebuild. That was already, I'm sure the deck's probably already built. 262 Andover Street, that as well was approved either in May or June. It was to remove old fencing and replace with new fencing. They actually had an order of conditions. I saw the plan, they removed and put it right back where it was because the wetlands are literally right on the other side of it. 5 Sutton Street is replace an existing above ground pool in Riverfront. It was just in kind replacement. 16 Chestnut Street was the demo and the rebuild of a dilapidated garage in the same footprint. Again, Brendan was the acting agent. I did go over to the site. Erosion controls are down. Right now they're like that. This is right next to City Hall, so I can actually give an update on this. They did remove the concrete. It was a mess, the concrete slab, and it looks like they're preparing to, fix it and then rebuild in the exact same footprint. In 263 Linfield Street, this was a second level addition.
You have Lynn Street here.
What did I say? Linfield?
Yeah.
Sorry, 263 Lynn Street. It's a second level addition on the existing footprint, and the applicant in the minor permit, they showed all the work. It's all on a second floor, so there's no work closer to the resource than the building is already, and there's no proposed staging, stockpiling, or anything in the backyard.
All right.
Through the
Okay.
chair,
Yes.
through the chair, just a question for Lucia, for my own information. Is it always necessary to come in to get a permit to replace an existing fence in the same location? Especially if you're not digging posts, or is it just?
They did have to dig posts. They had to do it, and it is because they no longer have their old order of conditions is invalid. So they were like literally 5 feet, like a foot away from the wetland in areas. So they had no problem with it. It was just a minor permit, and no one needed to come to the hearing or anything. They seemed fine with it unless they called and complained to you.
No. I just this is my. Excuse me, Mike.
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. It's just for my own information. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we've just been doing it just so that it's across the board. Like no one's getting played favoritism. If the order's expired and they're right next to the wetlands, they really have to file something. And that's why we started just doing the minor permits so that people aren't filing like RDAs and like clogging up this meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we have to make a motion to accept all these, right? They're just minor permits.
Yeah, I would make a motion to accept all of them, just one
Okay, so-
motion.
We have a motion to accept these 5 permits.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, do you need to roll call that or just raise our hands?
I'll just do a roll call just because who knows? Roll call. So then it was made by Bruce, seconded by Amanda. Roll call. Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Cormack,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, so all of those have been passed.
All right. Last thing on the agenda is the minutes. We have final minutes for May 10th. And we have minutes for June and July, but I don't know if they're finalized. Are those
I
final?
think they are. They were sent out. Did you, Lucia?
Yeah, I read them. So we have minutes for May 10th, June 14th, and July 12th. Oops, Lucia, we lose her?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I sent all of them to you. I
Yep.
hope if you guys didn't have time to read them, if you want to
Read
just
'em.
vote on the ones you read.
I read them all. So I have a motion to accept the minutes. Anybody?
Move to accept the minutes.
Second?
Seconded.
Second by Amanda. Roll call.
Yep, so made by Arthur, seconded by Amanda, roll call, Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes.
Commissioner Green. Yes. And Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
All right, we are cruising, guys. Look at you.
All right. That's it. That's all.
It's the summertime. We want to get it in and out.
Do
Get
I
that
have a
vote.
motion to adjourn or I'm sorry, Mike, what were you gonna say?
We got that no hitter, Arthur.
I think we got the no hitter tonight.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
You did.
All right.
All right,
All in
I am gonna
favor?
do a roll call just because.
Okay.
Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Comac,
Yes.
Commissioner Green. Yes. Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
I want to withdraw my motion to accept them.
Let the record show it's 9:06.
Wait, were you kidding? Are you withdrawing one of your motions?
To end the minutes. I want to keep going.
Oh, okay.
End the meeting.
So the meeting adjourns at 9:07. Is that what you said, Mike?
Yeah.
All right. This is one for the books. You guys, excellent job. We got so much done, but next month's going to be crazy. And there is
September.
another meeting on Tuesday for a city
Oh,
project. Remember?
Right. August 1st, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Is that
lucky you
correct?
get to see me again
Meeting's gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday
What
at
time?
7 p.m.
7?
Look back in my notes.
All right, I'll send the Zoom again. I'll send it when we get off.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Go
Good night.
USA.
Tonight.
Good night, everybody.